Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Workbench, your resource-rich weekly podcast and newsletter for home services. Super excited to be joined here by Nik, the founder CEO of Realtop, a home services digital marketing agency. We're going to be diving into all of the best practices and actionable insights for marketing your home service business. Nik, thank you for coming on. How's your week been so far?
My week has been jam-packed. The whole world seems to want to go digital lately, and we don't have a sales team. I'm the strategist for the company. I refuse to delegate that out, so my plate's been pretty full, thank God.
Good to be busy for sure. So tell us a little bit, Nik, about you and your background personally and the business that you run.
Yeah, so I spent my 20s running call centers in the financial space. One of my jobs was buying marketing. They were dumb enough to give a 21-year-old kid $250,000 a month to buy ads for the different call centers they would send us to. So I got to sort of cut my teeth on online marketing on someone else's dime, but the company was smart enough to pay me only a percentage of profit. That's how I was compensated. So I always had to be smart about where that money was going. I spent my 30s starting and growing a bunch of different service businesses. My claim to fame is three Inc. 5000 awards. For 6 years straight, did over 1,000 new customers per month. Um, Acquired over 100,000 customers in my own businesses. Created over 500,000 leads from Google, Bing, Facebook, TikTok, all these different platforms doing digital marketing. And then in my 40s, decided to start doing this for other businesses, and I'm having the time of my life. I get to hang out with guys like you, Brian, other awesome CEOs, business owners, and it's great because I talk to guys that are all growing, and some of them are having growing pains, some of them are in scaling mode. There's like a whole spectrum of pain points and celebrations going on, and I get to be part of the narrative. So I'm living my best life right now doing marketing for these companies.
What services businesses did you start in your 30s? Were those home services or digital marketing services? What was the focus there?
So I was actually in the financial space. So I started out in the mortgage and real estate space. Then in my 30s, I got into the credit space. After the financial, call it the financial debacle of 2008, there was basically a 4 or 5 year period where everything sort of got frozen and quirky and strange in mortgage and real estate. So I started helping people with credit issues. Um, Grew from a small team of three people in a small little 400 square foot office in Massachusetts to 92 people, 45 states, and did a bunch of cool things. Again, in the finance space, what I discovered though, going from real estate to mortgages to then eventually the credit space and the finance space, was the fundamentals of marketing were applicable. Those pillars were applicable across almost every single business, with the weight and the emphasis you put in each of the pillars being adjusted. And then I started doing marketing for, I essentially become somewhat semi-retired. My business was running on autopilot. So just for fun, I started doing the marketing for one of my best friends. I looked at his Google ad campaigns and I was losing my mind. He had a printing company, and I took over his campaigns. He blew up, not just because of my efforts, but because he really runs an amazing business. I just came in on the digital side, and then I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I'm just going to start another company because I can't sit around all day." And then before you know it, a digital agency was born, and we didn't set out to become home services focused, but ultimately, the market dictates everything, and the demand from home services was the most overwhelming niche. So I would say about more than 50, 60% of our clients are in the home services space now.
Great. So let's talk about home services. You've had the interesting perspective of seeing all of these different industries from finance to credit to mortgage and now working with home services companies. What's your 2 cents as to why there is so much demand in and around this space, both for the end home services companies and then for digital marketing support for them?
Yeah, I have a couple of theories. But I don't have the stats behind this. But my theory, even in my own little community, I live in a small town of 16,000 people. In the town I grew up in, just next door, supposedly was in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the highest percentage of people that were born in a town that ended up dying in the town. Like growing up there, your school teacher knew your parents, or potentially even your grandparents, right? And I always thought that was sort of odd, but that was not a town you did marketing in because you knew who your guy was for plumbing. Like everybody knew. You called Chucky the plumber. That's the guy. He's the guy, right? You knew who you were calling when your AC broke. You called the Dalabanis when your AC broke, right? So there was a guy for every single, or a few guys for each home service, right? And they built this reputation, and that was that. But now, even in that town, and again, I live right next door to it, the communities are changing. People are moving into these towns from out of state, from out of the country. Um, People are moving to other towns where they don't know anybody. It's not this multi generational sort of village style thing that we've had in the United States for a long time. So you show up to a town, you don't know who to use, you don't know who to trust. So what do? You go to Google, you go to Facebook, you go to Instagram. Okay. And even if you do any sort of word of mouth marketing, okay, or even if you ask for a referral from a friend or family member that lives in that town, ultimately you still don't trust them. Okay. So what do? You go online and check their social proof. So I'm not saying word of mouth is dead or that, I got a guy mentality is dead, but the reality is communities are changing. People are, every 5 years, it looks like these towns have a completely different makeup, it seems. And I think that's driving it. And in addition to that, obviously, everyone is just already on the internet. Our parents might have been more referral based, but I'm in my 40s now. My son's 17. Before you know it, he'll be a homeowner, and all he knows is the internet. He doesn't call his friends for a referral, or probably wouldn't as much. He's going to know, go to Google, go to ChatGPT, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, Snapchat, whatever the platform is going to be of the day in 10 years from now. So I think that's my theory as to why these services are becoming more important online and why I think they're going to be around online for a while, or at least the demand's going to be.
What are you doing for your clients to make sure that when folks do go to these platforms because they no longer have a guy, what are you doing for your clients to ensure that they're the plumber, HVAC, electrician that gets found?
So, believe it or not, before I even entertain online marketing to these cold audiences, right? And even though like Google is very bottom of funnel, obviously, like they're looking for your service when they search, I actually take a step back and I usually ask a question, especially for the established companies, like, hey, how long have you been in business? And someone will say, 10 years. Okay, cool. How many customers do you think you've had? I don't know, 5,000. Okay, great. How often do you reach out to them? So, obviously we're a Google agency. I've got a Google partner badge here. But before I even entertain that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the lowest cost to acquire a customer is going to come from a customer that was generated from a referral. So even though word of mouth might not be as sexy as Google is right now, the first thing I'm going to try to do is use digital marketing to pump in more referrals, to pump in more repeat business, to pump in more partnerships, to pump in all that low CAC, cost to acquire a customer business as possible. I want to maximize that first. The way we maximize that is by really beautiful social, okay? Because you're getting referrals right now that you might not even know exist. They just never called you, okay? So they're checking you out on social media. I want to make sure the website's beautiful. Again, you had 50 visitors to your website last week, only 10 called you. Why didn't the others call you? So let's maximize that. Then we're going to look at the email newsletter. How often are you staying top of mind by dropping a really valuable piece of content to your database? Okay. Reminding them that, hey, yeah, it's me. I'm here. And what I tell people is, this happens to me all the time. The only home services company that I can remember to call back is my garage door company. They send me an email newsletter. They put a sticker next to my garage door button. Every time it breaks, I know who to call. They stay top of mind. So I remind them, I don't remember who renovated my kitchen. I don't remember who fixed my dishwasher. I don't remember who did my HVAC repair, who fixed the blower 6 months ago, because they don't do those things. Okay. So they're losing business because I'm calling a new company every time. So let's maximize the amount of word of mouth referral as kind of a phase one, or at least have that in the plan. Then we're going aggressively into the next best client, that more bottom of the funnel client, which is going to be Google. And we're going to aggressively go into Google Ads, making sure there's a formula that's in place, and killer, insane tracking. That's a big problem right now with people running Google Ads. Google Business as a number two, local service ads. And then unfortunately, SEO, we have deprioritized in the mix of where we're putting work into Google. SEO right now is accounting for between 10 and 15% of local service Google search leads. So that isn't the big thing right now. Right now, priorities are literally Google Business Profile, LSAs, and Google Ads. That seems to be the triple pack of success with driving in bottom of funnel leads right now for home services.
You hear a lot about local SEO and the importance of it, and why when I search plumber near me in Austin, you need to be, if you're a company, one of the top results there. Walk us through what, in my opinion, sounds like a little bit of a contrarian take, that actually local SEO may not be that important, and then walk us through your thinking as to why those three things that you mentioned are actually the priority when it comes to getting leads from Google.
The term local SEO is thrown around.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell you, the when we talk local SEO, we literally just focus on the website itself. Okay. Um, Other companies, they're focused on the Google Business Profile. Okay. A third of the leads are being created from the Google Business Profile. Okay. So we have deprioritized the local SEO of the website because only 10 to 15% of leads are being generated there. Okay. And we have prioritized the local SEO efforts in the Google Business Profile. So I think it's important that when marketing managers in these companies, when the business owners are talking local SEO, I think they should ask the question, hey, when you're talking local SEO, what are you planning on ranking? My website, my Google Business Profile, both, and what are their efforts in each? We treat each of those differently. Um, Seeing that the Google Business Profile is generating a higher percentage of leads, seeing that Google really loves these Google Business Profiles, we're putting a lot more effort in there. And what's crazy is the the work that needs to be put into the GBPs, and they used to be GMBs like a week ago. You can put less effort in there, less resources, and get triple the amount of leads and warmer leads. And there's a recipe that we follow. There's a system that gets our agency to rank number one from where we're located in Massachusetts, out 20 miles in a very, very competitive space. And we use that system exactly in home services businesses, and it works every single time.
Is that a proprietary system that is a trade secret, or are you willing to share?
I'm willing to share it because people could do it themselves. In fact, when we get on a Zoom session with someone, we'll actually do an assessment with them. We'll do an assessment of their Google Business Profile, and we'll get a score between 0 and 100, and it will actually give you all of the recommendations of what needs to happen. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it. Okay. Number one, okay, reviews. We all know about this part. Okay. We need lots of them. The volume of reviews matters. Okay. The recency matters. The frequency matters. The overall rating matters. The sentiment matters. So the words that people are actually typing in to Google in the review matters. How you're responding matters. The length of the response matters. How quickly you've responded matters. The strength of the Google profile of the person that left you the review matters. Okay. So just inside of Google reviews, there's a lot. The general theme there is get them every day, Get them often, get lots of them, reply to all of them, and make sure they're wordy because Google loves words. Okay, so that's reviews, and you want to have an automated system where you're asking for reviews every single time. Whether that's someone at a front desk in your office asking for them every day. And all right, I get it. You don't want to harass your customers, but you should set a KPI for reviews. Okay. And a simple one is 25%. If you served 100 customers this week, did 25 of them leave a review? That's your KPI. If you fell above that or below that, get on the horn and start asking for reviews. Okay. If you're above that, great job. Your front desk is doing a good job of asking for the reviews or the guys that you have out on the job. The second piece of it is the content inside of the actual listing. Okay. A lot of people don't realize that the services list inside of your Google business profile, we used to have the ability, or we used to have a lack of capability of adding detailed service lists. We were sort of left with a standard list that Google gave us. Now we can use the services menu inside of the Google business profile as almost like a keyword list. So you want to add not just plumbing services, but you might want to add a synonym of that. So we offer 5 basic core services. But if you look at our services list, there's like 30 things. They're synonyms and variations of each other, very similar to how you're creating your keyword list in Google Ads. So you want to have an extensive services list. You want to have an extensive description under each service. And then you want to add products. Like if you're a service business, you don't necessarily sell a thing. That's okay though. Take all your packages and your services and turn them into products as well with beautiful images. Okay. You don't necessarily need to list your pricing, okay? But you want to have that in there. Google ultimately is a matchmaker, okay? When you're giving Google content that it can more easily match with the search within the area that your competitor didn't add, you're going to beat them every time, okay? So we have reviews, content. In addition to that, you want an extensive list of frequently asked questions that are relevant, that people are asking, okay? And a huge description outlining exactly what you do and the areas that you service, okay? That's part 2. Part 3, and this is where everybody is missing the boat, and it drives me absolutely bananas because it's easy and anybody can do it. There's a little button inside your Google business profile that says add update. You click the darn thing. You go in there every day, add a picture of one of the jobs you're working on. Hi, hey guys, replacing this HVAC system in Wellesley, Massachusetts today. Thank you so much to our amazing homeowners for, awarding this bid to us. Whatever, throw a little blurb in there, service related, location related, drop a picture in there and get consistent with it. At minimum, every 48 hours, you should be dropping content as an update. Again, Google is a matchmaker, okay? The other thing is Google loves when the business owners are active in the listing. Your competitors are sleeping on this. Do these 3 things, you'll rank number 1, even if you have less reviews, okay? And not only that, you'll rank number 1 more often. You might rank number 1 today for 10 minutes, and then the rest of the day, you're a ghost. But if you do these things, you're going to rank number 1 more often. You're going to see the leads come in, and you don't have to pay for the darn things. The clicks are free, and almost give or take a third of the leads are coming in from that. That's way easier than ranking a website number 1 locally. And competing against Yelp and Home Advisor that have 100 people on staff writing content every single day. You're not going to beat them locally. And if you do, what are you going to get? 10, 15% of the leads? Who cares? I want to go after the steak, not the dessert. You know what I mean? So that's the approach you want to take. You should still do those things, but you prioritize the free leads that can come in.
When it comes time to now convert these leads, we follow the 3-step process. We're ranking first in the Google map pack and Google results, as you mentioned. When it comes time to actually convert the leads, there's a lot of talk around AI answering services. I run an AI software company for converting leads. There's talk about form fills. There's so many different ways to then turn that interest and consideration into a job. For you and your clients, what are you seeing is the best method to convert the most amount of customers, leads into paying customers?
Okay. I think this is where we have to start being a little smarter as business owners. Okay. And this is where people are dropping the ball. They get a lead, they get someone come to their website, the person fills out a form and they want to call the guy like 2 hours later. Like, that's never going to work. Like, you might as well just burn that cash up. Okay. So the first thing is, this is a very basic sales concept that they taught us 25 years ago when I started in sales. It's called speed to lead. Okay. If your phone rang once, so let's talk about just a basic phone call. Your phone rang once, a full ring, just shut it down. Like, you're not here to make money. You should have a half a ring. Okay. I'm not kidding. You should have a half a ring before someone has taken that phone call. And if you're worried, oh, I can't afford a front desk manager, you just lost a $15,000 job because you wanted to send that call where? To outer space? You don't want to call them back? Okay. The other thing that we have to understand is conversion rate optimization is everything. That's someone that is so motivated that they're just going to call you. So speed to lead is everything. Now let's talk about the traffic that's coming into the website. Okay. Not everyone is ready to call you yet. Okay. Some people are very bottom of funnel. Some people are very middle of funnel. Okay. They need a little push. Okay. But the push isn't us trying to convince them with the words. The push is us listening to them. So, we talk about AI chatbots all the time. We use them all day long. Obviously, we have the best one from you guys, right? And it's a freaking killer. But when someone comes into the website and they have a question, instead of searching the whole website, what can they now? Now they can just come to the website, open up a chat, unload all their wants, needs, and pain points into a chat. And now we have AI that's been loaded up with every FAQ, scripts from conversations, and it's doing all the answering, teeing up that person for the live phone call. So our conversion rate goes from, 100 clicks came into the website and I don't know, 15, 20% of those became leads. And all of a sudden we just went to 25% on the same clicks. So now, that's another thing. So it's not just how we treat the lead. How do we treat the traffic to get it to become a lead? And not only that, a really damn good lead that's been warmed up. That's where AI chat comes in, and it's a game changer. And if you're not doing it, you're just like leaving money on the. I've had people like tell me about trying to save peanuts to add this type of software. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, one job for you is $10,000 and you're worried about a couple of $100 here or there. This is insanity. With Google, we're paying for clicks. Okay, that's the reality. So when they get into the website, anything we can do to take those clicks and convert them into more leads, even if it's just one more lead a day, can absolutely change our entire business. Because now, if our baseline's a 15% conversion and we simply take it to 20, doesn't seem like a big increase over the span of 0 to 100%, right? But from 15 to 20, you've increased your leads 33% on no additional marketing ad spend. That's pure profit in terms of CAC versus LTV. So that's a big thing. And I'm very enthusiastic about this because it drives me absolutely freaking bananas that not enough people are doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. I mean, that's a big focus for us at Lead Truffle, is this idea that, and it's how we kind of frame up our conversations with customers, is you're spending a lot of money and time and effort to get these thousands of views on your website, and a certain portion of very high agency customers are going to call. I mean, I talk for a living, essentially. I've made cold calls for, like, and I'm also just impatient. It's just my personality type. So if I want something done, I'm going to call until someone picks up and I get it done because I'm impatient and I'm not afraid to pick up the phone, and neither is most of the older generation. But like, not everyone thinks like that. Everyone's like, I need to learn a little more. I'm not really ready to commit to a phone call. I'm busy. And so giving people this off ramp, this alternative way to get their questions answered before committing to talking to someone or booking a job, I think is really important. And then there's also this emotional catharsis that goes into having some type of conversation with a home services provider, and really any business when you need to get a problem solved. Just quickly, for me personally, we had some pests at my house and it became very stressful. My wife is stressed, my baby daughter. My wife's not happy that my baby daughter's near these pests. So when I finally got a CSR on the phone for a pest control company here in Austin, like it felt good. I was like, like I took a breath. So just being able to give people that catharsis, whereas in the old world of filling out a form, you type in your name, email, address, there's no catharsis there. You're still stressed. You still feel like you're not making any more progress towards your goal. Let's talk about the 5 pillars of conversion optimization. We have engagement, site, social proof, brand, and engineering. Nik, can you walk us through these 5 pillars?
Yes, absolutely. Um, and this is, obviously this is something we live by. Okay, so it's, I've heard this a lot from marketers or even from companies that have sort of come from an old school of marketing, especially with Google, where everything is traffic. Like if you could just get traffic to your website, somehow that's going to miraculously turn into cash. And it's really not the case anymore. Okay, people have become a lot smarter. Okay, and people are a lot more skeptical. Some people are just straight cynical, but we'll leave them over there. They'll never call
Fine
us,
line,
right? But for
fine
those,
line.
yeah, for those that are skeptical, we need to serve up a few things to get that traffic to convert. Okay, and this is where the rubber meets the road. The first thing is social proof. Okay, um, if this was 10 years ago and you just had a website that was really good, like you were converting, marketing operated very much in a silo. I looked for the thing, I went to the ad that had the thing, I went to the website that sold the thing, and the website was pretty good. I'm doing business with you. And there is some truth to that still, but 54% of people will leave a website or open up another tab and look for social proof. What is social proof? Reviews. We won't even take a client that has a 4.7 or below on a Google business profile reviews for ads because we know their results are going to stink because of that statistic. So you want to have high rating on Google, lots of reviews. You want to look good everywhere. Okay. The next thing, obviously, is the website. This is the one that drives me crazy. Okay. Um, People are refusing to put money into their website when they're running paid ads. It's bananas crazy. Okay. You are paying 10, 20, 50, $90 a click, depending on certain industries. And you don't want to add chatbots. You don't want to do design refreshes. You don't want to add call buttons. You don't want to create ease. You don't want to follow that traffic around and see where people are getting stuck and fix up your website. So you got to have a world-class website these days. That's a minimum. People are used to going to beautiful websites now. So having a website that looks like it's from the 90s, it's just not going to work anymore. Okay. Only Craigslist can pull that off. Everyone else, they can't pull it off. Okay. Um, the next thing, which is under, I don't know, it's something that is kind of like a lost art, is brand strength. Okay. If you look at a lot of the big, private equity owned home service businesses, because there are a bunch now popping up. Okay. They have a very simple system. When they come into a market, okay, they grab a map, they draw a radius, or they grab a certain number of zip codes and they look for saturation. They don't just run Google ads. They don't just do SEO. They're doing television. They're doing radio. They're sponsoring local sports teams now. They're putting up billboards. They're buying ad space on the sides of buses. They're investing in swag. Everyone's swagged out. All their vans are wrapped. Why? Why are they doing this? Okay. Very simple. It's driving down their cost to acquire a client at a global level. So what are they doing? Okay. They run a Google ad for HVAC services. You click on their ad, you come to their website. You're like, you might not even realize it, but you've already seen them 100 times. Their conversion rate goes from 15% to 30%. They've doubled their leads because of that brand strength. So that's something that is underutilized. So I tell this to my home services clients. Well, I'll work with a guy that just says, "Hey Nik, I really only do I only do business in these couple towns." All right, good. Go all the way with it. How many little league teams are there? Freaking sponsor them all. Get a billboard up. Oh, you need office space for your home services company? You may. Get a storefront on the main street that everyone drives by. There's still going to be people going to Google to find you, but now your brand is everywhere. Those little signs in the front yard, don't underestimate that stuff. Marketing is very holistic. The stuff you do in the physical world drives digital, and the digital will drive the physical. It all works hand in hand, and ultimately it drives down your CAC. So you should be investing in branding as much as possible, especially early on. The problem happens is when business owners cast such a wide net, such a wide radius, that they can't afford to take all these actions across 20-mile span. It's just impossible for a small business to do that. But locally, they should go hard. And we do too. Here in Boston, we have a storefront. There's no digital marketing agency that has a storefront. Everyone's working from a laptop in Bali. We have a storefront. Why? Because literally people find us on Google. We're on one of the main streets in Boston. People find us on Google and they're like, yeah, I drove by you guys actually. I've seen you guys 100 times. That's you? I'm like, yeah. Boom. Conversion rate goes up. I make back that rent in what? A half a client? Like, it's stupid not to. And then I would say, the next thing is the actual engineering. So when it comes to paid ads, the actual engineering, the inside of the campaign, we do these Google ad assessments that are over 70 bullet points. It's the same document we use to quality control a Google Ads campaign before we turn it on. I rarely have anyone get a 60 out of 100 and above. Like, these Google ad campaigns internally in the campaigns are butchered. Wrong use of the wrong keywords that are informational intent instead of commercial intent, people looking for a service, people running display marketing, people using Performance Max when it shouldn't be used. Just butchered, ugly campaigns where people are following all of Google's recommendations that usually aren't really set up to help someone succeed. They're set up to just drive clicks and impressions. And ad spend, unfortunately. So I would say those are probably the top things when it comes to conversion rate optimization with a campaign.
We covered a lot here, Nik. What's the one thing that we didn't cover or sticks out in your mind as a key tenet for successful digital marketing for home services?
Great question. I would say get your brand really locked down before you start investing in paid ads. And what that means is awesome website, swag, wrap trucks, lawn signs, sponsoring your local teams. Have a really strong referral system. Stay top of mind with all your customers. If 100% of your revenue is coming from Google, you're in trouble. Paid ads should be the cherry on top, okay? It shouldn't be everything. If anything, it shouldn't be more than 50% of your client stream, because your CACs are going to be way too high and you're going to have trouble cash flowing your business. So get your brand locked down, your service locked down, look good, and have a referral system in place before you take that next step.
Amazing, Nik. For people that might want to work with Realtop or follow you personally on social, Twitter, LinkedIn, the website, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, you can visit our website, which is realtoptop.com. We've got, I don't know, 600 or 700 case studies there. More than half of them are home services. So you can go in there, pick your industry, check out case studies. If you like what you see and you want those same results, you can reach out to us for a free marketing plan. On Instagram, we're on Instagram all the time, Realtop at Realtop Digital. And on Facebook, just search Realtop Digital and connect with us and say what's up.
Nik, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, Bryan.